Nurse's cruel neglect dooms inmate to agonizing death. On a fateful Sunday morning in 2019, Kelvin Wingo, a 32-year-old father, was booked into the county jail on a drug possession charge. Little did he know that his arrest would ultimately lead to his untimely and preventable death due to the negligence and disregard of the very medical professionals tasked with safeguarding his well-being. Wingo had been experiencing severe abdominal pain and other troubling symptoms for several days prior to his incarceration. Desperate for relief, he pleaded with the jail staff to provide him the medical attention he desperately needed. Security camera video inside the jail captured Wingo begging medical staff for help before he died. He's seen collapsing at least 5 times in and out of his cell. His pain was so severe, a deputy brought him into the infirmary in a wheelchair. However, his cries for help fell on deaf ears, as the nurse in charge, Annalyn Visser, dismissed his condition as mere drug-seeking behavior, a common tactic employed by inmates trying to obtain medication. Visser's callous indifference set in motion a tragic chain of events. Despite multiple inmates and even a deputy voicing concerns over Wingo's deteriorating condition, Visser refused to allow his vital signs to be checked or for him to be sent to the hospital. Instead, she ordered him to be isolated, effectively leaving him to suffer alone and untreated. Surveillance footage from the jail paints a harrowing picture of Wingo's final hours. It shows him vomiting, becoming delirious, and collapsing multiple times as his condition rapidly worsened. Yet, Visser remained steadfast in her refusal to provide any meaningful medical intervention, even as Wingo's pleas for help grew increasingly desperate. "He's laying on the floor screaming, he's sweating," said Natalie Chance, a former nurse at the jail, in a recorded phone call she placed to the infirmary the night Wingo fell ill. "He says he's got abdominal pain. He can't fake this. He actually fell backwards onto the floor and crawled to the window and was asking again, begging for help, saying he could not breathe," said Tiffany Womack in an interview with sheriff investigators at the time. Womack was the jail's lab technician, and also a trained emergency medical technician. Womack asked to perform a medical evaluation on Wingo that would have checked his heart rate, blood pressure and other vitals. Visser wouldn't let her. It wasn't until Wingo had fallen unconscious and was found unresponsive that the jail staff finally sprang into action, rushing him to the hospital. Tragically, it was too late. Wingo was pronounced dead shortly after arrival, the victim of a perforated ulcer, a serious and treatable condition that, had it been properly addressed, could have saved his life. The investigation that followed uncovered a damning indictment of Visser's actions, or rather, her inaction. Medical experts who reviewed the footage unanimously agreed that Wingo was exhibiting clear signs of a medical emergency, yet Visser had stubbornly insisted that he was merely faking it to obtain medication. Furthermore, the evidence revealed that Wingo had a history of complaining about an ulcer and had even been given medication for it in the days leading up to his incarceration. This critical information, which Visser should have been aware of, was seemingly disregarded, contributing to the tragic outcome. According to the medical examiner, Wingo died from a perforated ulcer. That means his abdominal cavity was bathing in stomach acid, which is painful and deadly. No drugs were found in his system. Equally troubling was the fact that Visser failed to follow the proper protocols for transferring Wingo to the jail's medical annex, where he could have received more comprehensive care. Instead, she simply had him moved to a different isolation room, effectively cutting him off from any meaningful medical intervention. The nursing board could have rejected or modified the judge's ruling, but did not. The board's decision shocked Wingo's family. "She don't deserve to be a nurse," said Kiara Wingo, one of Kevil Wingo's daughters. "I wouldn't trust her around nobody." Calls and emails to Visser and her attorney for a response went unanswered. An Atlanta News First investigation uncovered the nursing board levied its decision without reviewing all of the potential evidence. In May, Visser took part in a video-recorded deposition, part of a pending lawsuit against the Cobb County Sheriff's Office. The deposition was taken after she was terminated at the jail and after Wingo's family settled a lawsuit with the detention center's former medical provider. Visser had nothing to lose by participating. In the deposition, Visser repeatedly claimed she believed Wingo was faking his own death to get to the hospital, even after knowing he died from a perforated ulcer. "You know, when they act out, they do it like that. They pretend to be dead," Visser said. "And he would do anything to go. Even if it means picking you off the floor." Visser called Wingo's pleas for help the show of the day at the infirmary. According to Visser, it would have only taken her about 5 minutes to check Wingo's vitals. When asked why she didn't, Visser said it was because Wingo was too rowdy. Sheriff investigators and Womack disagreed. "He could not have acted out, because he was very sick," Womack said, according to disciplinary hearing documents. After sheriff's investigators reviewed the jail's security video, they told Visser they did not believe Wingo was disruptive. "We've seen the video, and I have yet to see him throughout the video acting out at all," said investigator Cody Driscoll to the charge nurse. In the deposition, Visser told attorneys she would do nothing different today, even knowing how Wingo died. Elaine Harris is a former nursing professor at Mercer University with more than 40 years of experience. After reviewing Wingo's case and watching Visser's deposition, she believes the board made a decision based on incomplete information. "They would have seen this nurse's utter lack of compassion, her utter lack of care," said Harris, who is not an expert witness in the pending litigation. "I can't envision her in any other practice setting and being considered a safe practitioner." In Harris's opinion, if Visser had allowed someone to take Wingo's vital, they would have seen him experiencing dangerously low blood pressure and an extremely high heart rate. Harris said she's treated hundreds of patients with perforated ulcers during her career. She believes Wingo could have been saved if he was taken to the hospital. Even after all of the evidence was in, Visser insisted multiple times that there is nothing that she would have done differently, Harris said. "That is a clear violation of standard of care. It's a lack of self-reflection. It's a total lack of evaluation of the care that Mr. Wingo received." As we reflect on this harrowing case, let us remember Kelvin Wingo's story not as a mere statistic, but as a clarion call for sweeping reform, a rallying cry for a more compassionate, just, and responsive medical system that places the dignity and well-being of all individuals at the forefront. Only then can we truly honor Wingo's memory and prevent such senseless tragedies from occurring in the future.